So, and here we go on to the next one. This is Dominik Hasek, and he was legendary goalie in the NHL. Very unorthodox style. I was a huge fan of this guy. This guy's unbelievable. He used to wear the crazy helmet too with the cage. He refused to wear the goalie helmet. He would wear the player helmet with like an enhanced cage.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. I don't know. It was just old school. He's like, nah, that's how I do it. It was probably more dangerous.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But he had his own style. He used to play goalie almost like it was jazz music or something. You never knew what he was going to do.
That's fun.
He was very unorthodox. Anyway, he's a famous player from Czech. And I don't know how much you guys know about the history of, well, Europe or Russia or the Soviet Union, USSR. I mean, I don't know how much you know. Well, I know Mo knows a lot. So he can actually take it from here.
No, unfortunately, I don't know much. I should learn.
I apologize. I promised Mo that I would not do that today, so I had to do it at least once. I had to do it at least once just to make sure he's awake over there. And since we haven't been here in a while,
It has a while.
keep him on his toes.
yeah, it's just a slight little adrenaline dose. I was like, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Don't say it, Lou. Anyway, so Hasek has been outspoken about this thing. I believe he had critical words at one point for Ovechkin.
Okay.
Who
is pro-Russia?
Well, I mean, pro-Russia is one thing to say.
Pro-Putin?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, be careful over there, Will. Second of all, I think it is still possible to be pro-Russia as a Russian citizen and maybe not to be pro-Putin. Like, I think that there is a middle ground there. And even beyond that, and I know this gets really squirrely from a philosophical perspective, but it is possible to just be against this one individual decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's actually important that people can detach these things because otherwise the mental gymnastics that have to take place to deal with these types of occurrences get really wacky. Mm-hmm. And I understand when people, you know, even when somebody commits a crime, let's say, and the family has a really difficult task ahead of themselves trying to figure, I'm talking of the accused, of figuring out how to, do they still love them?
Yeah.
Was their whole life, you know, do they need to reevaluate every single moment? Or is it possible that humans are capable of terrible things, every single person, and that we are constantly at odds? Like we're constantly maneuvering to make sure that that doesn't happen collectively, hopefully. But that, like this is the reason why we attempt to distribute things like power.
Right.
So that one individual's bad afternoon doesn't turn into nuclear war.
Yeah.
I've obviously exaggerated there. But you understand what I'm saying. I use the exaggeration just as an example.
To amplify the point.
That's all I was doing over there. Or that like one personal vendetta doesn't, like, so people can vote on things. I don't know, have a referendum. I love the idea of a referendum. No, like here's a particular thing. How do people feel? Like what would happen if you had a referendum right now in Russia and you asked the public to vote on whether or not they want this Ukraine stuff going on? What do you think it would say?
I'm going to say they would say they don't want it. Seeing all the protests.
It's a possibility at least.
Yeah.
And it would be really interesting for the world to know that. Now, who's running the referendum?
Well, there we go.
Who's asking the questions? Who's counting the ballots?
Yeah.
Let's get back to Dominik Hasek here. He's from Czech. And if, again, coming back to Soviet Union, USSR, there's a lot of, I don't necessarily want to use the word animosity. Well, it's animosity now, but there was still existing tension based on that history about countries that were affected by the existence of the Soviet Union and Russian influence in the region. Countries all around there, including Czech, including Poland, including Slovakia, including, well, Belarus right now, including Ukraine, et cetera. Like that this stuff, there's baggage there. There's stuff that it still exists. You can't like erase history in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, a lifetime. Like I think about this when you see pictures of young people in Ukraine I'm talking like toddlers, like I have, that will know this reality. That will never leave them.
No.
That is permanent. They're not dead, right?
Traumatized,
They're not a statistic, but they are a statistic because and there's regions in the world where these battles, these wars, are permanent because they're multi-generational. And so even when the fighting stops, the war is still here. I pointed at for those just listening, I pointed at my head. The war exists in the mind permanently. You can't forget it because of the amount of pain, the amount of suffering, the amount of fear.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the case with that part of the world. And so Hasek has been very critical of what's going on over there. He wants like strict things to happen. He's been critical of Ovechkin. And now he's calling for the NHL to immediately suspend contracts of all Russian players. Okay. That might be extreme.
Yeah.
Every athlete represents not only himself and his club, but also his country and its values and actions. That is a fact. If the NHL does not do so, it has indirect co-responsibility for the dead in Ukraine. That's a hefty statement right there. Maybe it's a little much.
I don't know. Putin loves his sports.
Does he?
Yeah, I don't know a lot about Russian history and whatnot, but from the few videos that I've seen, he loves to put the hockey players up front and be like, this is my guy.
Right.
So maybe.
Well, there's pride in sports.
Exactly, yeah.
He was at the Olympics. He went over there. The most recent one, yeah.
Really? He left Russia?
He boogied over there. Well, I mean, obviously before this.
Yeah, obviously before this.
Will's going to fact check me right now, which I like.
Keeping you on your toes.
Yeah, he arrives at the Olympics. Look at this. That's Feb 4, 2022.
Whoa.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't want to go because of COVID and stuff like this. And he went, show face. You know this relationship's important right here. Mo, look at this.
Yeah.
See the color on the tie? Very close. That's the color, by the way, Putin's tie. Will, don't smile. It's a serious time.
They color matched.
Yeah. No, I know.
Called each other.
It's impossible, man. We live life. It's impossible, Mo. We live life.
Yeah.
Don't we live life?
We do.
I mean, you got to go in the morning. Like you had to wake up this morning.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
You rolled out. You got in your car. I don't know what you did. You filled up with gas. Like, man, you got to do it. No, you read some stuff and you're like, oh, God, I don't even, right? Can have that effect as well. Anyway, so this is a little hefty. He's Hasek, who's 57 now, also criticized Russian superstar Alex Ovechkin. He didn't like his words when he said no more war. He wants him to be more specific. He said, what? Not only an ableist, a chicken shit, but also a liar. Holy cow. Every adult in Europe knows well that Putin is a mad killer and that Russia is waging an offensive war against a free country and its people. Hasek is fired up.
Yeah, he is.
A competitive guy, and now he's doing a competitive version of social media. We'll see if Ovechkin replies. I saw what Ovechkin said. I think, this is hard. His family is in Russia. I know some people are like, hey, man, that's no excuse. People want to hear harsh things, but I think it's a very difficult time and complicated time, and all people are struggling with it in one way or another. Some significantly more. I understand that. But even a guy like Ovechkin, I promise you this ain't easy. When he lies down at night, puts his head down, he's like, God damn. Is he not doing that? I guarantee you he's doing that. I guarantee it affects the game. I guarantee it affects his life. His family's over there. You see the lineups, people trying to pull out money, the Russian dollar, just ruble, plummeting.
Yeah.
People are trying to buy iPhones, Will, because they're trying to hold value, because the value is just falling off.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Listen, Mo, you work, right? You have a job.
Yeah.
You pay bills. You save for the future. You buy too much crypto. No, but I'm saying, like, again, the idea of the war being in the mind and having to do with fear and unpredictability and chaos and so on. Yeah, well, look at the Will's doing the conversion rate here.
I'm just gonna go
to Canadian dollars. What do you want to do? USD?
Yeah.
Yeah, 0.0089 USD.
It's not worth a cent.
It's not worth a cent.
Yeah, do it
It's
on
less than a cent.
do it on a longer scale. Do it on like a year or something. Let's just see how low it is. Yeah. Well, actually, that doesn't even help because it's kind of like a cliff.
Yeah.
You got to do more like a 5-day, I guess, to be honest, to really see where that drop
There you
was.
go.
Yeah, there that initial cliff there.
It's actually lower than it was on the initial cliff.
It's just so widespread, the effect and the impact of this. And so even a guy like Ovechkin, how much of his money is in rubles and real estate in Russia?
Yeah, I don't know.
And like, are his assets frozen? Does he, I don't know if you don't know the effect on his personal life and how his finances
Yeah.
work.
I think the family is a pretty big point. The family being still in Russia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can he actually see his family?
Right now,
Yeah, he can't.
well, I mean, he could call up Putin and say, I need in. But what plane? A private plane, maybe?
Maybe.
At
Yeah.
the risk of getting shot down. Maybe.
Well, Russian airspace stuff isn't getting shut down. But anyway, you can see like the West, like North America wants him to go hard.
Make a hard line.
Just because he's like the
Yeah.
most famous.
Yeah.
We'll see if his position changes. We'll see as this thing goes on, as the violence continues and the suffering goes forward.